Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. I'm Judita Nurul Herdiantari. You can call me Judita. I'm study at Semarang State University. My student ID is 4014176061. In this video, I will tell you about stimulation of chemical learning in the matter of determining enthalpy change. In the previous material, we have learned about exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction is a reaction that releases energy from the system to environment. And then endothermic reaction is a reaction that absorbs energy from the environment to system. For example of exothermic reaction is mixture of water and limestone, and then mixture of magnesium and hydrochloric acid. And then example of endothermic reaction is mixture of ammonium chloride and barium hydroxide, and then mixture of ammonium hydroxide and water. Well, now we will learn about determining of enthalpy change. In this learning, we have goal that students able to explain, identify, and compare how to determining enthalpy change as much as 4 ways after the student collecting data from various learning sources. The enthalpy change can be determined by the first, based on experiment. The method used to measure the enthalpy change by calorimetry, which is the process measuring of amount of heat from reaction system using calorimeter. There is two kind calorimeter. The first bomb calorimeter and then the second of symbol of calorimeter. How does calorimeter work? To find out, we must learn about principle of bank. That is, the heat release is same as the heat receive. The formula is release the same as the heat receive, and then the heat is the mass times the heat type times temperature change, and then enthalpy change is negative heat decided mole. The second, based on Hess law. The law of Hess is enthalpy change depends on initial stage and final stage, not depending on reaction stage. The way to determine enthalpy change by energy diagram and pie diagram. This is the example of energy diagram and pie diagram. Based on Hess law, the enthalpy change depends on initial stage and final state, not depends on recent stage. So the formula is delta enthalpy 1 is delta enthalpy 2 plus delta enthalpy 3. The third, based on standard establishment enthalpy. Data from standard establishment enthalpy can use to determine of enthalpy change. That the formula used is delta enthalpy reaction is amount of delta enthalpy product minus amount of delta enthalpy reactant. Then, the complete data calculation can be used to calculate enthalpy change. The trick is we must write step by step, and then we sum the reason, so you will can determine of enthalpy change. For the example, question 1. The following thermochemical equation is carbon plus oxygen become to carbon dioxide. Delta enthalpy is negative 393.5, and then carbon plus a half of oxygen become to carbon monoxide. Delta enthalpy is negative 110.5. Based on data above, the contribution enthalpy in 1 mole of carbon monoxide is. We have two ways to answer the question. The first, we must sort the value of each enthalpy. Delta enthalpy of carbon dioxide is negative 393.5. Delta enthalpy of carbon monoxide is negative 110.5. And delta enthalpy of oxygen is 0. Then, write the reaction like that. Carbon monoxide plus a half of oxygen become carbon dioxide. After that, enter the value of each enthalpy to formula. Delta enthalpy is amount of delta enthalpy product minus amount of delta enthalpy reactant. The value of delta enthalpy is negative 283. Second, we must write down the H reaction to determine value of final reaction. Carbon plus oxygen become to carbon dioxide. Delta enthalpy is negative 393.5. Then, carbon monoxide become to carbon plus a half of oxygen. Delta enthalpy is 110.5. The value of delta enthalpy carbon monoxide is changed, become positive because the reaction is reserved. Then, sum the reaction. Carbon monoxide plus a half of oxygen become to carbon dioxide. The value of delta enthalpy is negative 283. And the last, based on bonding energy. Bonding energy is energy needed to break bond becomes atom in gaseous stage. The formula is delta enthalpy is amount of breaking bond energy minus amount of forming bond energy, or delta enthalpy is amount of bonding energy reactant minus amount of bonding energy product. For the example, question 2. To answer the question, we must change all the reaction into bond. Then, enter the value of bonding energy to formula. Delta enthalpy is amount of breaking bond energy minus amount of forming bond energy. From my explanation, we can conclude the way to determining enthalpy change can be done in 4 ways, namely based on experiment, and then based on Hess law, then based on data establishment enthalpy, and then data of bonding energy. I think enough. I hope my explanation about determining of enthalpy change can help you to understand it. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for watching.